What's good? Welcome back, everybody. It's your boy, that one dude. And who would have known me reacting to a video of LeBron James versus Michael Jordan would have made such a big deal? This is actually has been like one of the most commented videos ever. I mean, I got some people in the feelings. I actually, okay, here we go. Let's go check it out real quick. I actually have some people. So let's go ahead. I got this video that I'm about to watch and react to, recommended by Ryan Williams. Actually, really good. If you can go check the comments, we had a really good back and forth in the conversation. He actually gave me some feedback in my argument of saying LeBron James is better than Jordan. No. What I said was the Bulls team could beat the Cavs team, but I also said all players are better. So in that argument, what I really meant, I mean, obviously, I wouldn't say every player is better than the older players because that doesn't make sense. All NBA players is not the same. But what I will say is, judging by that Bulls team compared to their peers, right, and this Cavs team compared to their peers. Let's say if you took Michael Jordan off that Bulls team, we already seen what happened to that Bulls team when Michael Jordan was gone. They were still a very good team. They couldn't win the championship, but they were still a very good team. You take a LeBron James team, that the Cavs team or whatnot, and you could just, I mean, he haven't left. I wouldn't count the Kyrie team with the Cavs now because Kyrie already gone, and you know what I'm saying, they just playing with Kevin Love. Pretty much should be the star there, right? But you could say like the games that LeBron James took off, you could see what happens to them teams. So you really can't really tell. But he definitely told me something I put in my argument. So some of these things you'll find that it's kind of hard to type these things out because you can't really say something simple as, "Oh, LeBron James is better because he do this. Jordan is better because he do this." But somebody that's really in their feelings right here. Whoever this Blink 23, I'm probably because of Jordan or whatever. But like the comments, I really can't expand the comment if this is more. It looked like it should be more, but every time I try to expand the comments, the comment is gone. And then he had, I got him blocked. Trust me, I don't have you blocked. I think what this is somebody, I don't know if they blocked me and then they posted the comment and then blocked me because I can't see this comment. If I had them blocked, example, let's see, there you go. Here you go. This me and Ryan Williams, pretty good. We had some really good conversation back and forth, and he actually recommended the video. That's what we're gonna go check out. But this person, Blink 23, bro, I can't find him. I actually wanted to respond to his comment. You know what I'm saying? Because like even when Ryan Williams first commented, he was like, "Hey, Jordan is the one in his view." So you know what I'm saying. So nothing to it really to have Michael Jordan is the goat in your view. I mean, there's nothing I can say about that. No one can discredit you if you say Michael Jordan is the GOAT. There's literally no argument. I mean, he's been the GOAT for a long time. So there's no discrediting whatever you say right there. There's a couple players who if you could say Kareem is the GOAT. You could say Bill Russell's the GOAT. And then you have a legit argument when you say these things, right? So I'm never discrediting what somebody say, but I mean this this comment right here, this whole person right here is very funny because I mean to think that I will block you, like, come on, bro, you ain't even. I mean, even though this comment is kind of disrespectful, like, really, come on, bro. I'm way tougher than that. Pretty much nobody to me. You on the internet, right? So let's just go ahead and get into the video. It's 32 minutes long. So I think I may have a part one, part two, because y'all already know I like to talk in between these as it is. So I'm gonna try to keep my random conversation, my rants, or it's not even so much as a rant, it's just like me going off on a tangent. I'm gonna keep those down to a minimum, or at least I'm gonna try. And we're gonna go ahead and get into. We probably gonna put it into two parts because it's really 32 minutes with my extra talk, and we're probably looking like 40, 45 minutes really. So let's just go ahead and get into the video. But yeah, I thought this was really really funny, and shout out to Ryan Williams for actually get into the video, give me the recommendation, and let's get it. Okay. What is the arguments? That's what I really want to hear. I be slipping every time, right? Every time. I think I did this last time. Ever since I started taking off them big ass headphones. Okay. Let's go, James. MJ. Ooh-wee. Hey, this is very cinematic right here. I'm ready to see it. All right. Let me turn on that music though, because I ain't really trying to have that music going on. Let's turn it down. I'll turn it on when they start saying some stuff. Cause this music ain't what it is, bro. All right, come on. I like it. Look like they took some time. They put a lot of work into it. Anybody that's really good at editing, I really support them on these things. Cause boy, y'all already know I'm not the editor guru.
It's a debate that has captured the public's attention for the last several years, especially after this moment in 2016 when LeBron James beat the Golden State Warriors to win the third championship of his career.
Hey.
In LeBron's own words,
that one right there made me the greatest
player. Hold on. Y'all see homeboy take off real quick? Hold on, where is that? Hold on. Oh damn, where we at?
It's a debate that has captured the public's attention for the last several years,
especially
after this moment in 2016 when LeBron
look at my man taking off.
James beat the Golden State Warriors to win the third championship of his career. In LeBron's own words,
I look at
that
Switch.
One right there made me the greatest player of all time. That's what I felt. Reasons. I was like, that one right there made you the greatest player of all time.
But
now I don't agree, right, with that statement right there. And you know, he a person too, so he can have his own views on what the growth is of what he did. But I don't agree that's what made it. I think that, like, when you think of his overall, for me,
did it? Is everything since that moment simply icing on LeBron's cake? Or is LeBron destined to finish his career in Michael Jordan's shadow? I mean, we've all heard the arguments from LeBron supporters.
He would.
He's bigger, he's stronger, he's faster, he's more durable.
And from Jordan supporters.
Michael Jordan was merely 6-0 with 6 MVPs in the finals.
I just said
that,
bro.
Debate isn't as simple as the pundits make it seem.
Please,
there are a number of factors relevant in determining the greatest basketball player of all time.
This one might be it.
I would say there are 5 things that really matter when determining the GOAT of any sport.
Okay.
These criteria are, in no particular order, accomplishments, longevity, winning, statistics, and what we'll refer to in this video as the eye test.
I support this. Accomplishments, got it. Longevity, got it. Winning, got it. Statistics, I agree so far. Because you can probably lump some of the other things in, like accomplishments, like all NBAs and yada yada yada, right? You know what I'm saying? Obviously, some accomplishments is not as important, like MVP. Come on, bro. We already know that's kind of like a joke. It's really like anybody can get it sometimes. So not anybody, but you know what I'm saying. Obviously, you got to be a good player, but like you know, some players is not getting the MVP no matter what.
And to be the GOAT,
you don't
need to be the best in any specific category, but you need to be pretty good across the board. So simply winning 7 championships, like Robert Horry did, isn't enough to get you into the conversation.
It's not.
When we're finished with this video, it'll be plainly obvious that one guy comes out on top. But before we get started, I want to clarify that this is not a comparison of legacies. It's about who was the better basketball player. If we were talking about legacies, Jordan's is nearly untouchable. Not only did he lead basketball to global popularity, he helped transform Nike into an empire.
He did.
Changed the way players played and how they dressed. And he even made it cool for guys to be bald. And while those things certainly contribute to MJ's iconic status, they don't make him a better player on the court. So let's evaluate the criteria that matter. And we'll start with individual
definitely Jordan.
accomplishments.
Think about the Jordan shoes. The Jordan
Take a
shoes
look.
is crazy right now.
Jordan had more regular season MVPs, twice as many finals MVPs, 9 more scoring titles, and several more selections to the NBA's all-defensive team, including once being named Defensive Player.
I would never put scoring titles in there because that's pretty much saying like if you're not a scorer, like you're not James Harden, you're not Kevin Durant. You're not like that's just taken away. I think that's just going in his accomplishments. MVPs, I agree. MVP should be in there. I think Finals MVP is a little bit more important, but I think MVPs should go into the conversation. Very, very little because as we just seen, Giannis is the MVP of the league. Westbrook was the MVP of the league, and then it was like, oh, he's averaging a triple double. It's never been done before. But then he did it for 3 straight years, and then all of a sudden now the triple double was gone, and now it's like, oh yeah, you know what I'm saying, he's done that before, like, but it's a triple double. If triple double was averaging a triple double was pretty much the criteria, that's still the criteria. So you know what I'm saying. Sometimes the whole MVP and all that stuff, it can be skewed, but it should still count. Scoring titles, I don't think scoring titles should definitely be in one of those. Well, I guess you could do it because if LeBron James had a, let's say, assist title, they'll probably include that. So yeah, you're right. All defense team, sure. We'll just say it. I already gave my opinion on
Player of the
defense.
Year. LeBron has more All-Star appearances, but that's largely due to his having played more seasons. In fact, when taking into account retirements and major injuries, Jordan essentially played 13 seasons compared to 17 seasons for LeBron, making Jordan's significant lead in accomplishments all the more impressive.
Does that even
and that's
really
to say
matter,
nothing
though?
of MJ's brilliant college career, which saw him twice named All-American and once awarded College Player of the Year, at a time when the country's best players actually went to college. So regardless of whether you're a LeBron fan or...
I wouldn't include that, only because LeBron James didn't go to college. And if he did, I'm pretty sure he would have got that in college.
MJ fan, you have to give the accomplishments checkmark to Jordan. The second criteria in our GOAT analysis is longevity. And this one is also...
More than giving it a check, I would have gave it a score, right? Because you can't just add up like, oh, he got 4 checks to 3 checks or whatever the case, whatever the end is going to be, right? I would have gave it into like a scoring value, and then you can just I would have gave it to a scoring value, and then you can go off that. But like, just a check mark, that means 100 and then 0.
Not only has LeBron played more seasons in the league, but he's had a longer peak than Jordan. Jordan's peak lasted about 10 years, whereas LeBron's peak has lasted 16 years and is still
17.
going.
17
and he's been
now.
incredibly durable during that
17
time,
now,
missing
probably
significant
18.
time to injury only in 2019. That said, the claim that LeBron has been much more durable than Michael has been a bit overblown. Consider that Jordan played in at least 80 regular season games 11 times in his career, including all 82 games an incredible 9 times. Compare that to LeBron, who played in at least 80 regular season games just twice, and in all 82 games just once. So both LeBron and Jordan get high marks for their durability. But durability aside, the bottom line is that LeBron has sustained his level of excellence for a much longer period of time than Jordan,
Come on, bro.
which puts the longevity checkmark squarely in LeBron's corner.
See, that's another one.
brings us to the
so
third
now
GOAT
Jordan got
criteria,
0 and LeBron
winning.
James got 1, whatever the case. So
As we all know, Jordan won
you gotta
6
give him a score.
championships. LeBron has won 3. Jordan is 6-0 in the NBA Finals. LeBron is 3-6. Yes, LeBron has made the finals 9 times compared to only 6 times for Jordan, but let's not pretend that making the finals is the same thing, or even close to the same thing, as winning a title. Take a prime example from another sport, the Buffalo Bills. They're the only team.
I know what they're about to say, right? They're about to talk about the Bills just keep getting to the finals, right? But it's totally, I wouldn't never compare football and basketball, only because in football, anybody can kind of win a situation, right? Anybody can win that game. But in basketball, it goes down, and the better team generally wins. Now, not all the time, but the better team generally win in a 7-game series. So, like you can luck. I ain't gonna say luck, but you can have a streak of good games and end up in the Super Bowl, right? You can't have like you're not gonna have a streak of good games to end up in the finals. You're not gonna win 12 good games, right? Or you could just have like a lucky game and then go to the next round. A lucky game, maybe somebody having a bad day. You never know, and you're next up in the next thing you know you're in the Super Bowl just because somebody having a bad day. Like somebody have to have multiple bad days just for you to
team in NFL history to appear in 4 consecutive Super Bowls. But is there a single player or fan of that team that wouldn't trade all 4 of those appearances for just one Super Bowl win?
Did I see this before?
Frankly, talk to any fan whose team lost the season's final game and ask them how they felt afterward. Almost universally, their feelings are of sadness, anger, and disappointment. And that's just the fans. For players, those feelings are only magnified.
I may have
Listen to
seen
Charles
this before,
Barkley talk about losing in the NBA Finals.
And I was just in shock when it was over because I had to. I was frustrated because I couldn't wheel my team past Michael and the Bulls.
All right, yeah, I get this.
First of all, I don't think I've ever gotten over it. Number one, but that was traumatic.
Real life comparison, right? So, high school. I was on the high school swim team, and obviously only first place get trophies in conference finals. So I was swimming, and you know what? In this event, I ain't gonna say I was overconfident, but I was fairly confident because I generally win this event, right? I've been winning it all year in the whole time in the city, right? And then come conference finals. I mean, somebody new came, whatever the case is. I ended up getting second place. And you know what? That definitely hurted me. I ain't gonna say hurt me, but I definitely felt bad for not winning that thing right there. But like, and you're right. I don't get any accomplishments from being first pretty much most of the time during the regular season. You can call me like Giannis, right? I don't get no accomplishments for that. But when it came down to it, when the trophy was on the line, I ended up getting second place in that conference finals. Yada, yada, yada. You know what I'm saying? It's overall, I mean, if you think about a swim meet, the team still won because, you know, a second place finish is still good when you got multiple teams instead of like it's being only these 2 teams. So I didn't feel as bad. I know what they feeling because I still didn't get the trophy. I had a couple trophies from a couple other events that I ended up winning, but this event, you know what I'm saying, I end up losing it, and I didn't get the trophy. So yeah, I still think about that to this day. Like, man, you know what? I should have just been going. I was taking my time because I generally was a lot better than a lot of people. I'm a really good swimmer, or used to be a really good swimmer.
And it's painful.
So we can all stop with this false equivalence between winning the championship and finishing runner-up. In the words,
I would never say that winning and runner-up is the same, but let's keep it real though. Getting to the finals is really a big accomplishment. There are many players who never made the finals, who would never make the finals. So you got to at least put some points on at least getting there because you get into the top 2 out of 30, right? So the fact that they saying oh no, just get to it is not a big deal. I don't know what's the other points, but like, come on, bro, you got to give some points for that.
Of Herm Edwards,
you play to win the game.
That's true. That's true.
You play to win the game.
Now back to Jordan and LeBron. As mentioned, on basketball's biggest stage, the NBA Finals, Jordan was 6-0. LeBron was 3-6. And frankly, that doesn't even show how lopsided their records really are.
Last time I'm gonna go on this record stuff, but like I said this in my last video, getting to the finals should be a thing. So is it wiped clean if you don't get to the finals, right? Is that what they saying? Like if you don't do enough to actually get to the finals, you're still in the good because you won when you got there. That's what it's sounding like, right? I'm not a fan of that.
In terms of individual finals games, Jordan was 24-11. LeBron is 18-31. And that's because in 4 of his 6 finals losses, LeBron's team hasn't even been competitive. Twice he got swept, and 2 other times he lost 4 games to 1. That includes being on the wrong side of the 2 most lopsided finals by margin of loss in NBA history. Of course, LeBron fans will tell you that the only reason for LeBron's poor finals record is that his competition was so tough. Ironically, some of these same fans criticized Jordan for losing early in his career to a Celtics team stacked with 5 Hall of Famers, and they conveniently gloss over the fact that LeBron reached the finals so many times in part because the competition in his own conference was so weak. During the vast majority of his career, LeBron played in what many dubbed the Leastern Conference because the East was so much weaker than the West. On the other hand, during Jordan's playing days, the East was generally considered the stronger conference, as Jordan had to battle through hard-fought rivalries against the Bad Boy Pistons, Patrick Ewing's Knicks, the Shaq Penny-led Magic, and Reggie Miller's Pacers. That said, if you want to blame LeBron's failure in the finals on the level of his competition, I won't argue with you. But let's also not blow it out of proportion. If you look at the average number of wins of their finals opponents, you'll see that LeBron's finals opponents averaged 60.8 wins per season, whereas Jordan's finals opponents averaged 61.2 wins per season. So as it turns out, both players face stiff competition in the finals. But a big reason we don't hold the 93 Suns, the 96 Sonics, or the 98 Jazz in the same regard as some of LeBron's finals opponents is because, unlike LeBron's adversaries, Jordan's opponents never actually won the Larry O'Brien Trophy. Which goes to my original point, that the difference between winning the title and finishing runner-up is huge. And the reason those teams never won the title? This guy.
Oh my God!
Look,
like,
I'm not trying to say that Jordan's opponents were as good as the Warriors teams that LeBron
I was about
faced
to
4
say,
times
bro.
in the finals.
Come on.
The truth is that Jordan never played a juggernaut quite like that. But there's a pretty good reason for that. Jordan's Bulls were the juggernaut. They were the team winning 70-plus games.
I'm gonna stop right here. They were the best team. LeBron James have never had. I didn't say never. Because Miami, they was considered to have the best team, right? So I mean, and that was another thing. Like Clippers last season, that was a on paper best team. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to give him all the excuses, but like D Wade and Chris Bosh was hurt a lot during those Miami days, and they was definitely not what they was on paper to be. So. Let's just keep that in mind. I don't have anything against the Bulls. I already said what I had to say about the Bulls. The Bulls was literally the best team. It was the juggernaut of the NBA. And it wasn't only because Jordan. It was because they had multiple people on the team to do, and it was like certain jobs. Obviously, with the way the game has changed, you're not gonna get this team beating the Warriors because of the style of play, right? But definitely that Bulls team was
target on their back every year.
Juggernaut.
And as the Warriors showed us, that's not an easy place to be. As great as the Warriors were, they were never able to string together 3 consecutive championships. Jordan's Bulls did it twice. So what's the greater achievement? Beating the Juggernaut or being the Juggernaut? Or to be more specific, beating the Juggernaut 1 time out of the 4 times he faced them? Or being the Juggernaut year after year after year?
I swear I think I've seen this before. This must be an old video. I think somebody
There's no doubt that LeBron's victory over the 73-win Warriors was the
As
highlight
I'm a
of his
LeBron
career.
fan, I'm pretty sure
But
somebody
it's not
showed
the
me
first
this a long
time that an
ago.
underdog has won the championship. And there actually have been much bigger underdogs who ended up winning the title. But how many times have we seen a player lead his team to 6 championships in 8 years? Prior to Jordan's Bulls, only Bill Russell's Celtics ever accomplished that feat in the NBA, when they incredibly won 11 championships in 13 seasons. However, back then, there was an average of less than 10 teams in the league, and only a couple rounds of playoffs, so it was considerably easier to win a title. And no player, not even Bill Russell, ever had a run of winning 25 of 26 playoff series as Michael Jordan did. And Michael's pattern of winning goes beyond the NBA. Let's not forget that Jordan has never won anything but gold in the Olympics, and he also earned an NCAA championship, in which he hit the first of 2 iconic championship-winning shots in his career. All that is to say, when it comes to winning, the checkmark clearly goes to Jordan. On to the fourth GOAT criteria.
I think I've seen this video. Somebody may have requested this.
This one is a bit more complicated.
If I remember, it's been a while,
statistically evaluate two players who played in different eras under different rules at different positions.
Everybody know my stance.
One way of doing it is to simply look at the 8 traditional statistics of basketball: points, assists, rebounds, steals, blocks, field goal percentage, free throw percentage, and turnovers. And we'll focus on per-game stats rather than cumulative stats, since cumulative stats such as total career points and total career assists really speak to longevity, which is already its own category of the GOAT analysis. Per-game stats, on the other hand, is more of an apples-to-apples comparison. So looking at the 8 traditional stats, we see that Jordan leads LeBron in 5 of them: points per game, steals per game, blocks per game, free throw percentage, and fewer turnovers. LeBron leads in the other 3: assists per game, rebounds per game, and field goal percentage. But that's a pretty simplistic way of looking at
Let's go with points per game. LeBron is a low-key scorer, so we ain't gonna even talk about that. But like, he could literally score more points if he wants to, but he don't. So I ain't gonna even mention it that much. But let's say steals and blocks per game. If I had to say there was a reason for this, right? Because I get this question all the time. LeBron James plays more in a scorers league, right? Before, back in the older days, the Jordan generation, defense was a really big deal, and you can do everything you had to do to stop them from scoring. So you could say Jordan's scoring could possibly be more, right? You could possibly. But you could say that his scoring could possibly be more. But I would say that the steals and blocks of LeBron James will go up more in the Jordan era, only because now he's too worried about getting the foul. If LeBron James fouls out, they lose. Most likely they lose. Probably with AD they could pull off a couple games, but if LeBron James fouls out or get into foul trouble, they lose. When AD got into foul trouble, they lost. So you know what I'm saying? Like, now in the scorers league, you might want to not play defense as hard. You leave that to your role players, your young guns, or your gunners, your Danny Greens, or your Caldwell Popes, anybody on your team that can go out there and they can probably risk a foul more than LeBron James could. That's what that is. I'm pretty sure his defense could be more if he wasn't going to get punished, or his team wasn't going to get punished for him trying to stick defense like that.
Statistics. What if we instead turn to analytics? Probably the most well-known analytics stat is player efficiency rating, or PER for short. This metric was created by respected basketball analyst John Hollinger to give an overall rating to a player's performance based on traditional stats like the ones we just mentioned. Jordan has led the league in PER 7 times, LeBron 6 times. Jordan has finished top 3 in PER 10 times, LeBron 9 times. In fact, Jordan has the highest career PER in both the regular season and the playoffs. Another popular analytics stat is win shares.
Let's continue on.
Jordan has led the league in win shares 8 times, LeBron 5 times. Jordan has finished top 3 in win shares 11 times, LeBron 6 times. And when it comes to win shares per 48 minutes, Jordan has the highest career rating in both the regular season and the playoffs. What about box plus minus? Until recently, LeBron was actually ahead of Jordan in career box plus minus. But after the 2017 season gave Russell Westbrook the greatest single-season box plus minus in history by a wide margin, the architect of box plus minus realized that the stat was fundamentally flawed. So he made some changes to improve its formula. As a result, Michael Jordan now has the highest career box plus minus in both the regular season and the playoffs.
I don't even have a problem with
lastly,
this.
What about value over replacement player, which on its face seems to favor LeBron James? Well, value over replacement player is a cumulative stat, and as previously noted, cumulative stats speak more to longevity than they do game-to-game dominance.
Okay.
That said, according to value over replacement player, Jordan owns 6 of the 9 greatest individual seasons ever played. And on a per-game basis, MJ's career rating in value over replacement player is the highest of all time in both the regular season and the playoffs.
That's the only question.
Are you noticing
I don't really care about these
Not only does Jordan beat LeBron in every routable analytic stat, he consistently ranks as the best ever across the board.
Okay, so back to what I was saying again about how I discredited myself by saying players today are a lot better than what they were before, right? Back in Jordan era, you don't have a Luka Doncic, you don't have a Dirk Nowitzki, you don't have a Porzingis. You don't even have a Giannis Antetokounmpo, right? The more the NBA goes into the future, you're gonna start getting more and more better players from around the world. You don't have that Tony Parker, you don't have that Tim Duncan. Maybe in the Jordan era, maybe you could have them, but like in the future, I mean, every year the NBA gets better because they get the best from around the world, and they get the best from now. All the way back then, the players wasn't even making that much money in Bill Russell's days, so that's why they didn't have that many players. I mean, it was a money thing as well with not enough teams. It was just starting out, but like the competition gets harder and harder every year due to the amount of good players that comes out. The Dream Team, they blew through the Dream Team blew through the Olympics because basketball was not as wide as it is now. Now you have countries with legit basketball teams, and now, I mean, and then it was like, oh yeah, basketball's a thing, but it wasn't as big now. You can credit for Jordan for making it big, it's global, yada, 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 but to say that he got all these, because I'm going to say it again, the competition was not as good. They didn't have all these people. You don't have those Kawhi Leonards, those Kevin Durant's. You have your people like that. You have your, realistically, right? You had your Magic Johnsons and your Larry Birds was like the leaders of the NBA. Magic Johnson could be Ben Simmons, right? I'm not going to say exactly Ben Simmons, but like literally the game type could be like Ben Simmons in this time. So and Ben Simmons is not even a top 10 player. So come on, I don't really want to get on it because it sounds like I'm hating on the people, but like if you realistically look at it, you'll see that logically players are getting better and better, and the fact that LeBron James still has a gap between him and second place, to me, or him and the rest of the league, is kind of crazy when you have all of these things to make all the players the best players and he's still winning. So yes, Jordan's going to have these, just like Bill Russell's going to win 11 rings in 13 seasons because he didn't have the top notch of the world. And maybe Dell was the top notch of the world. But, that player that maybe was that Giannis Antetokounmpo or that LeBron James or that other Michael Jordan maybe never even picked up a basketball because it wasn't that popular. That's all I'm saying. There may have been a player that you could say, oh no, he would have been the man if he went there, but he never even picked up a basketball. You know what I'm saying? So that's my whole deal with this. So when you
I
go,
want to mention a lesser-known stat called game score, another brainchild of John Hollinger. Game score measures a player's performance in a single game, so it won't tell us who's had the better career, but it does provide insight into who's had the greatest games. Now, we only have game score stats since 1983, so you won't see any mentions of Wilt Chamberlain here. That said, of the 100 highest game scores ever recorded, incredibly 19 of them belong to Michael Jordan. In other words, nearly 1 out of every 5 of the best single-game performances over the last 4 decades has been by MJ. That includes the highest game score of all time for Jordan's 69.18 rebound masterpiece. Comparatively, LeBron has had only 3 of the top 100 game scores. When discussing the GOAT, Nick Wright is fond of asking this question.
The aliens come down. You have 1 game to save humanity. Who's your first pick in the history of the world?
Well,
Literally,
Vic,
my answer's
I
not
think
even
we have our
changing.
answer.
No.
Now that I've finished drowning you in numbers,
No, come
let's
on,
be
man.
real. Hardly anyone watching this video knows how to calculate PER, win
I
shares,
really don't.
box plus minus,
I
value
honestly
over
don't.
replacement player, or game score. And why should you? This is basketball, not Goodwill Hunting. So let's go back to the traditional stats that we all know and understand. But this time,
Alright.
let's add context to them. What do I mean by context?
Okay.
Well, some positions are simply better than others at racking up certain stats.
Okay.
Let's take rebounding as an example. In a vacuum, if we simply compare the number of rebounds per game of Brook Lopez and Jason Kidd, we might think that Lopez was the better rebounder. The truth is, relative to their positions, Lopez is statistically one of the worst rebounding centers in NBA history, whereas Kidd is statistically one of the best rebounding guards in NBA history. But even a poor rebounding center can grab more rebounds than a great rebounding guard solely by virtue of their roles on the court.
That's true.
So it makes sense that, to understand the context of a player's stats, we should compare them to the respective positions that they played. When comparing LeBron James to the other small forwards who have played at least 500 NBA games, this is where he ranks. Overall, that's pretty impressive. Now let's see how Jordan compares to all shooting guards who have played at least 500 NBA games. As good as LeBron is compared to other small forwards, Jordan is on another level when compared to other shooting guards.
That's a good
He's
stat
darn near
right
the
there,
top
I
of
ain't gonna
every
lie.
major statistical category. And there isn't a single category where LeBron is better than MJ relative to his position, other than assists.
Okay.
So to sum up statistics, whether comparing traditional stats or analytics, and especially when judging these players in the context of the positions they played, Jordan has a noticeable edge over LeBron. As such, we have to give the check mark to Jordan.